have logged into another one of the series of webinars focusing on study abroad, which are hosted by Leverage Edu, India's top-ranking university admission service. If you are an aspirant who wants to study abroad, if you have a dream university in your mind, well, you need to DM or call or contact on any of the social media handles and reach out to Leverage Edu, where you will be helped from the beginning through a full stack service from the time that you express your desire for an institution all the way to getting you there. So you will be in good hands of services that will help you to traverse that path to get there. So your first semester abroad is going to have some fun, some adventure, and some challenges. This is what I'm talking about today. I'm Professor Maina Chawla Singh. I have taught at universities in India and abroad. I have lived in 7 different countries and done research and spoken at universities in many different countries, including Japan, France, Russia, and the US. I have taught in the US for 9 years between 2009 and 17 and have visited at least 20-25 universities in the US in connection with my research, which is why I base my remarks today on what I have accumulated as learnings from the other side. So what I present to you today is an educator's perspective who has seen at the other end, when students come for their first semester, what are some of the things that can be challenging? What are some of the things to be alert about? Challenges are nothing to worry about. Challenge is what you want, which is why you want to go to an institution which is going to be different from what you have been at. All of you who are aspiring for challenge are the ones who are going to go for international experiences. You want to be global citizens. So it is with that in mind that I'm presenting to you a professor's perspective from the other side, because I have seen students in their first semester, and especially in the US, I would like to bring some of those learnings as we go along. I want to say that the challenges that you face can be different kinds. They can be academic, they can be social, they can be emotional. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to begin with actually mapping out what semester 1 looks like. The semesters in the US and the UK and other countries are slightly different. They might all begin in the fall. In the UK, they will call it the autumn semester. In the US, they will call it the fall semester, because fall is a very beautiful time when the leaves are falling. And that is why it's called the fall semester before the winter comes in. So the duration is what I will speak about first. Then I will speak about how that semester pans out in terms of the pace of work. After that, I'll speak to you a little bit about the alert times to be careful about during that semester. And finally, of course, I will offer a few strategies for what you can do and be aware of. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. And so I hope that some of this conversation is going to help you as you do go abroad, or if you have a friend who is going to the US, then this is something you can share with them. So let me just start off with the duration. There are 2 semesters at most institutions in North America. They are the fall semester and the spring semester. And you know that because there is a spring intake and a fall intake. The spring intake begins in January and the fall begins sometime now in September. Typically, the fall semester begins just after Labor Day weekend. Labor Day is a holiday in the US, which is the first Monday of September. Very interestingly, you will find in the US that most holidays tag on a Friday or a Monday, and that is so convenient. They don't fall in the middle of the week most of the time. Most of the time, they will be tagged on with the weekend. So Labor Day, first Monday in September, usually the Monday after that is when the academic year begins at most schools, meaning universities and schools and colleges. It ends in mid-December. That is when anytime between the 8th and the 15th is when you will have your exams, depending on your subjects and your programs, and people start leaving for home for the Christmas break, the winter break, sometime after that. Typically, your semester is 14 weeks, maybe 15 weeks. There is a break in the middle, and actually it's not in the middle. It's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a very, very special American holiday. It's not religious, it's secular. Every American celebrates it, every immigrant celebrates it. It's a wonderful weekend starting on Thursday, ending on Sunday. It's the fourth Thursday of November. So you can imagine it's the very end of November. And when you come back, there's just a few days left for your 1 week or 10 days before your semester ends. So you can be sure that there will either be exams after that, or there will be papers or submissions to make after that. Last year, because of the pandemic, the academic year actually ended with Thanksgiving. But most of the year, most of the time it comes back. And you actually do work till about the middle of December. So in these 14, 15 weeks, you've taken off four long days at Thanksgiving. Your first session is going to be just the introduction. Take a look at the syllabus. Your last one is going to be about exams. There's probably going to be a midterm exam as well. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because actually you have a pace, which is only 13 weeks of teaching. As a professor, I knew that in those 13 weeks, there was a lot of ground to cover. I want you to know as a student that for those 13 weeks, there is a very quick pace. It will start slowly. September seems like there are introductions, you're finding your way, you're learning about the library, you're learning about different services on campus, and wow, without you realizing what happened, the month has gone. Suddenly what happens in October is that you end up having a midterm exam, papers are due, so it begins slowly, but the semester goes really fast. October typically is a time when you have lots of submissions. If you're on the East Coast, which means the east of North America, which is New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey, and so on and so forth, the climate is cold and the winter is harsh. If you're on the West Coast in California, the weather is temperate, so that doesn't matter too much. But on the East Coast, the temperatures begin to fall and October gets cold. It's also the flu season. So unfortunately, I used to see that everything come together. The deadlines came at the same time, the weather became cold and horrible. People would catch the flu, they wouldn't be well, and there was a lot of stress that would accumulate around that time. So I want to say that October, you must view as a time that will pose some of these challenges for you. There will be exams, there will be stress, there will be burnout. And remember, go and get that flu vaccine, because they will be sending messages out on your campus to say that flu vaccine is available. It's available on campus for free. So regardless of your vaccine, which is the big vaccine for COVID, the flu vaccine is something that's going to be around as well. I want to say something else also, which is a very North American little joke people have about freshman year. They say something like freshman 15, which is a reference to how young people gain a lot of weight in their freshman year. 15 is like some people gain 15 pounds. That's a lot. What happens typically is that first year, people are just enjoying being away from home. They have freedoms. They don't have to stick to timings about getting up and sleeping. And very often that leads to a lot of snacking, decreased physical activity, the timings change. There might be partying, there might be nights, sitting up nights to work. There might be social stuff, there might be social meals. And so a lot of people actually get to put on weight, which is not about gaining muscle. It's just excess fat, because people are not having family meals, they're just having binge meals. So watch out for that. So what should one do? From the beginning, one of the things I want to say is time management. If you can be aware that things are going to pile up, your 3 courses, or if you're a grad student, you're going to have things that will accumulate for that research project or whatever discussions the professor is having. You might have a group project, you might have a submission to make. So your time management is going to be really critical. Here's a little tip. I know it's old-fashioned. We all want to keep calendars on our phones, but stick a calendar on your wall. You know why? When you look at the deadlines, you will be able to see just how many days are left. before you need to submit something. Look at the deadlines, mark them with red on your calendar, and then start working backwards. How much time do you have? What is that deadline? What does it mean? Do you have 3 deadlines together? How can you start preparation earlier? Do you need to make lists of books that you need to read? Do you need to get those library books? Towards the end, everybody is going to be running for the same material and the same books at the library. Don't go and tell your professor at that time, the book is checked out. That's your problem. You didn't think about it earlier. So go put your name on reserve or get the book ahead of time. Find the sources. You need to download something. You need to rent a book. Go ahead and do that. So manage your time, manage your week. Decide what needs to be done on the Saturday, which is your maintenance day. And on Sunday, you'll find that most campuses, afternoon and evening are very quiet. Everybody is preparing for their submissions on Monday. So Friday night is a social night, and Saturday is when people go out, they shop for groceries, they do errands, they explore the city, because that's what you must do also. As an international student, you must be able to do that as well. So basically, time management is something you're going to need. It's not just something to talk about, but you're going to need it. Then I want to say that you must avail of campus services. Now, what could these campus services be? They could be anything. I want to say that even for writing a research paper, if you feel challenged about how it should be, what the formatting should be, there is always an excellent writing center available at every North American campus. Please use it. It's for free. It's part of the service that you have paid for. So writing center is extremely important. There are also counselors who are available. The counselors are not just because you feel you're getting emotionally disturbed, that too. But sometimes you just feel overwhelmed. You feel that the syllabus is something that is not working so well for you. You might actually feel that the courses that you have taken, things are not working well for you. Go speak to one of those counselors and they will tell you how to contact a professor. Very often there is what is called a care network, which means the counselor can actually put in a note to your professor to say that so-and-so student is feeling a little overwhelmed. Can you offer them an extension on the deadline? Something like that. So don't be afraid or hesitant to use those resources. The most important thing is don't feel bottled up because you feel you can't resolve a problem. There is no problem that you cannot resolve. You just have to know where the solutions are. And you have to be brave and bold to name the problem, not be shy or embarrassed about it. So name the problem, find the service. There will be a professor who will be your mentor or you're in charge, but don't hesitate to go to another professor with whom you might be taking a course. Maybe you liked a certain professor. Maybe you like the way they teach. Maybe they look like they're a really good, helpful human being. Go to them after class. Seek an appointment, email them, and go and share with them what your aspirations are and seek mentoring from them. Don't hesitate for any of that. So there is the Writing Center, there are campus services of counseling, academic counseling. There is also the library. Please remember that the libraries at US campuses are absolutely fantastic. Many of them are 4 or 5 floors and they're huge. There are places there where there are just an armchair and you can lie back and you can read. There are cubicles where you can have a group meeting. There is just tremendous possibility. You can spend 7, 8 hours in the library. More important than that, your librarian is usually an extremely knowledgeable person. They will help you even to make reading lists if you go and tell them what your research paper is about. If you tell them what the research subject is, they will even help you to look at some topics and then help you to find the sources. Of course, you have to do the reading yourself, but half of that work is resolved and supported if you're able to get help like that. So don't hesitate to go up to the librarian and say hello in your first week and say, I'm an international student and I would love to come by and have a conversation with you if you can tell me a little bit more about the resources in the library. Very often they will have orientation sessions for the library. Please go for that. They will give you an excellent tour about the resources which are there. Secondly, there are lots and lots of workshops for freshmen. Please go attend them. Even if you are joining a year late and you may have deferred your admission, join with the sessions which will give a really great orientation to campus and for the services. It's much less overwhelming if you have been walking around with a group and seen what's going on. There is also usually a very good health center on campus. They are in charge for taking care of how you're doing, and you must go avail of those services. Please don't medicate yourself. Also remember that in America, most medications are not above the counter. There are many things that you can buy above the counter in India, like antibiotics and so on. You cannot buy them there. They have to be certified. Most universities also are connected to a nearby hospital. So do not ignore your health. Go out and seek what you need to seek. I want to say one other really important thing. Your professors are usually very, very happy to meet somebody, whoever has signed up for their class. Meet them outside of class. Typically, there will be office hours. Very often, they are very busy people. So you can't just knock at the door and say, I've come to see you, and expect them to give you 20 minutes. But they will put up their office hours, and they will tell you that these 2 days in the week, they are sitting in their office for office hours. Those are your walk-in hours. Make use of them. They don't mind if you just came in for a chat. If you just came in for a chat, you should just say that. I just came to say, hello, Professor Reynolds. I really enjoyed your class. If you feel that the course that you have taken is not right, in the first 2 weeks, typically, you're allowed to change that course. So please don't get stuck for a month and say, this is not the calculus course I wanted. I wanted to do trigonometry. No, don't do that. In the first 2 weeks, you're allowed to switch, and all you need to do is to go on the website, or go to your counselor, or go to the professor and say, I'm sorry, I am not going to be able to do this course. I hope to meet you at some other time as well. That should be just fine. So now I want to give you a little bit about, personal issues. Your international experience when you begin it is going to really catapult you, throw you into a situation which is unfamiliar. You may have been to that country before, but you may not have lived on campus by yourself without your family before. And so it's a very, very big jump. And if you're feeling homesick, that's normal. Some of you will feel more homesick than others, depending on whether you have been traveling on your own, whether you're independent as a personality, and so on and so forth. I want to say that it's okay to feel homesick. It's good to accept that. It's good to be in touch with your family. But I want you to also remember that sometimes you just might be feeling overwhelmed and feel really sad and break down on the phone. And then at the end of the call, you go away and you meet friends and you go out for a hamburger and you go out for a pizza and you feel much better, but your family is going to continue to think that you're probably miserable. So don't leave them miserable. Just let them know that you're feeling fine and that you are not feeling fine for some time, but that all is well. So I want to say that there will be social get-togethers, there will be organizations. It's good to be in your comfort zone, to be part of a South Asian Students Association, but please don't get stuck with that. You're not going abroad to be in one more South Asian ghetto. So please be aware and curious and sign up for other activities and other groups and associations, depending on what you're interested in. Is it biotech? Is it environment? Is it sports? Is it theater? Is it fine art? There are so many associations on campus. Look them up, join them. That's how you make friends. Go to cultural events. There's always something happening. Go and attend talks. One of the most fascinating things at an American campus is to attend speakers and talks, is to attend the sessions by speakers. Usually sessions are very, very interesting and the speakers are outstanding people. Before you go, spend 2 minutes on Google to see who they are. You will get much more out of it. I want to say at a personal level that when you go to a new country, a new city, your campus may be an urban campus in the city, for example, in Philadelphia. In New York, it might be a suburban campus. It might be 100 kilometers from Philadelphia. It might be 100 kilometers from Pittsburgh. That's where it might be the same way with Boston. So I want to say that you must explore the city, which is the nearby city in which your campus is. It is part of knowing what your prospects might be. After all, you will be looking for internships after a while. So explore the city, explore its culture, go to museums, go to events, go to Saturday markets, go to flea markets, just explore. You'll be able to Google about the city and you'll be able to do a lot of those things. So attend campus events, even if they're unrelated to the subject that you are studying. It is part of what you are going there for. It is part of that education that you want. So I just have a few minutes for this session and I have a few final thoughts. Make many friends. Pick up a conversation with people. If you're sharing a table at the dining table, if you are sitting on a campus bus or a shuttle that's going into towns, strike a friendship, say hello. Sometimes people are very responsive. Sometimes they're not so responsive. Forget about the ones who are not responsive. Focus on the ones who are. You might actually make friends. So take an email, take an address, get in touch with them, see how the response is, find out things you have in common. So one friend will lead to 5 more acquaintances, and there goes the extended circle that you will have. So that's how you build networks. Finally, take charge of your health, mind and body. Don't neglect it because you are independent. You need to look after yourself. When people are unwell and they are tired and they're overwhelmed, they are not so productive. That's when you get homesick. That's when you don't do well and you don't want to go there. So look after yourself, exercise, go for walks, enjoy the scenery around, find people who like cycling, who like hiking, who like swimming. That's how you make friends. Do not make distress calls to your family because actually that adventure is something that you have been aspiring for. That is exactly why you went there. So what should you do? 3 final things. Plan, plan, plan. Plan your time so the academics are not going to overwhelm you. Dig in your roots. You have come there maybe for grad school for a year or 2. Maybe you're there for 4 years for a BA, BSc, for a bachelor's degree. You need to dig in your roots. Invest for your next 4 years. That is why you're going abroad, right? Take care. Bye-bye.